Hello, hello everyone. Hello. Hello. Okay, I was just testing the sound. Okay, so let us wait a few seconds. Then we're going to also start our coding session for Python. So in the meantime that we are waiting for people to join us, we are going to give you a brief introduction of the coding environment. For example, there are many coding environments that we can use. The first one that I prefer is definitely Google Colab, but another one is Anaconda. So it's an open source. You can download it quite easily by searching the Anaconda name in the Google. I write down the name of it here for you, Anaconda. It's you can use this open source place for your coding environment, or you can simply use the Google Colab. If you have an account with Google, for example, if you have a Gmail account, you can directly go to the Google Colab by simply writing it down in the Google, so you can directly find it there. And also, it is possible for you to install Anaconda. It's not very hard. Whenever you want, you can simply write down the Anaconda name in the Google, and then you can have the download of it through their website for free. So if you write down, for example, Anaconda download, you will be directed to that place. So let me share my screen so you can see how I can download it. Okay. Okay, great. So the first thing that I did here, I'm writing down the Anaconda download keyword in Google. Then the first website that comes is the download Anaconda distribution. So you go there, you write down your email address. So provide email to download a distribution. You write down your email address here, you tick this part and you submit. Then you're going to receive a link by which you can download it, or you can click on the escape part. And by clicking on the escape part, you will be directed to this page where you can download for Windows, Mac, or Linux. It's not very hard. So, for example, for Windows, you can click on it. It's around 1 GB. It starts downloading itself. Then you're going to install it and use, for example, a Jupyter notebook to do the coding for yourself. You can have the Jupyter notebook, which is also online, so you can have it here. You can either install it or you can simply use it. For example, try it in your browser. You can come here and you go to Jupyter Lab, Jupyter Notebook, whenever you want. So I click on Jupyter Lab, for example, and I come to a place where I can have my codes. For example, I click on this and I'm working with Python, and here is where I can write down my code here. For example, I write down uh, hello world here. Okay. So I run the code and you see that hello world is being printed here in the output. So this is how we can have different compilers. You can have the Jupyter Notebook, Jupyter Lab. You can have the Google Colab. It depends on what you're looking for. But let me share my Google Colab as well. So here is my Google Colab. So this is my Google Colab. Whenever if you're having a Google account like a Gmail, it's quite easy to come to Google Colab. You just simply go and check this part, the part that I just pinned. So Google Colab, you check it in Google. Then if you have an account with Google, you directly be headed to a place where you can have your sheet here. Otherwise, you need to create a Gmail account for yourself and then start using it. Okay, let's start with the lessons. First of all, we're going to talk about the variables. So we are having different data types in Python. First, we're going to talk about the numeric data types. In particular, we're going to have the integer data types and float data types. In order to declare an integer, we know that, for example, 1, 10, and 20, they are all integer variables. So they are integer values, sorry. So let's say integer numbers. And we know that for the float variables or float numbers, they are numbers with some decimals. For example, 3.14 or 5.20. These are what we call the, for example, decimal values. Then we are going to declare variables. So in order to declare variable in Python, on the left-hand side, I write down the name of my variable, which is x here in this example. And on the right-hand side, it's the assigned value to x. So I'm assigning number 10 to my variable x. And 10, since it's an integer number, my variable x is going to be an integer variable. Okay. Then I'm having number 3.14 being assigned to my variable y. So we see that y equals this number, and this number is a float number. Therefore, y is a float a variable. Okay, and both x and y, both of them are numeric data types. Then we are having z equals 5.5, for example. We are having u equals 2.4. Okay, now we are having the discussion over two functions in Python, built-in and the user-defined. So the one that is the built-in function are the functions that are already defined in Python, and we can simply call them and use them. The other one is the user-defined function. So the user-defined function is the function that we are going to declare and we are going to use. So first of all, let us get used to the built-in functions. Now my variable is x and it is equal to number 10. I use the print function. So this is the print function. In order to use the print function, I'm going to have the print and parentheses. So this is the print built-in function in Python. And in order to use that, we are having the variable x here, for example. Let me comment these parts in the beginning. So I'm going to have the variable x being inside the parentheses of the print function. And whenever I'm having a pound sign and then I'm having something, know that it's a comment and compiler is not going to include them while reading the code. So all these parts, they are comments. All these green parts, they are all comments and compiler is not going to read that. So here, as you see, we are having 4 variables, and I would like to use the print built-in function to print them. So first of all, I write down the print function, and inside parentheses, I write down x. So when I run the code, you see that 10 is being printed here. 10 is exactly the value that was assigned to this variable x. So now, but because we are having only number 10, if we are having many prints in the output, it will be a bit hard to understand this number 10 represents which variable. So I'm going to have this message also. This is the value for variable x. Okay. So when I run this code, we see that it says this is the value for variable x and 10 is being printed here in the output. So I have these variables now. So when I run this code, you see that for variable y, I have that this is the value for variable y, and y equals 3.14. This is the value for variable z, which is 5.5. This is the value for variable u, which is 2.4, and x equals 10, y equals 3.14. Basically, this is how we can have our variables being printed here in the output. Then we are going to discuss the strings. So these were the numeric data types, X and Y. Now let us talk about string. What is a string? A string is a sequence of characters enclosed in quotes, and they can include letters, numbers, symbols, or spaces. For example, here I'm having Reza Shahin on the right-hand side. It's in quotes. And on the left-hand side, we are having its name, which is R. So the name of my variable is R. Its data type is a string. And what is the string? It's Reza Shahin. Again, here on the right-hand side, I'm having the hello world. On the left-hand side is the name of my variable. My name of variable is X, and it is of which data type? String. So X is a string, and it holds the value, it holds the string that is hello world. And then we are printing it here in the output. Then we are having the type checking function. So the type function is another built-in function in Python. So we are having x equals 10, y equals 3.14, and we see that here we can simply use the type built-in function, and in parentheses we write down x type. Again, in parentheses we are going to have the y, and because they themselves are in a print function, we are going to have the integer and float in the output. Okay, so the type function is going to help us to know here the type of the data type of variable x, which is integer because 10 is assigned to it, so it is being printed here. And this one is going to give us the type of the variable y, which is 3.14, which is float. And we see that here it's in the output as well. So far we learned about the numeric data types, we learned about string data type, and we learned about the type built-in function and the print built-in function as well. Now let us work with the arithmetic operations. We are going to have addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So we are having x equals 20, y equals 5. So these are two variables that we are declaring here. First of all, we are going to print x and y. So we see that x and y, this is the value for variable x, which is 20. And this is the value for variable y, which is 5. Then in order to have their addition, we use the print function. We write this message saying that the addition of x and y is, and then we have the x plus y. So this is the addition of x and y is, and 25 is being printed here in the output. Or we could have the new variable, which is called z, and z equals x plus y. And instead of printing x plus y, we can print z. Okay. In order to do the subtraction, we can have the x minus y again, or we can have the x minus y being assigned to a new variable called h, and h is being printed here in the output. So this is the subtraction of x and y, and this is the subtraction of x and y. So 15, 20 minus 5, it's 15. Then we are having the multiplication of x and y. So x and y multiplication. So q equals x multiplied by y, and q is being printed here, or we can have the x multiplied by y, we can have x divided by y, and or directly, or we can have x divided by y being assigned to a variable called w, and w is being printed here in the output, which is number 4, because 20 divided by 5, it's 4. So in this lecture, we learned about the numeric data types. We learned about two built-in functions that are print and the type, and we learned about the string data type, and we learned about arithmetic operations. Thank you for watching.